Now it's now stepping beyond that and saying to ourselves, okay, then let's look at this in this way. And I think that paper written by Dr. Gifford just explains and allows us to understand. One, stop trying to find a black face, right? You don't need to find a black face in Christianity. It is an African story that has now been presented to Europe. Europe now has retold it in its whiteness because all they could understand was whiteness. They could not comprehend blackness. What you need to do is understand that it is not a surprise to see black faces at the development of Christianity and the continual development of it.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
Hey guys, this is Roger Moore here on Affinity Extra. We're here to celebrate gospel music of black origin, but also we're here to talk about black origins, Christianity and black origins, you know. And I'm here with Bishop on the Edge Show. We're going to be Bishop's going to be deep diving on certain characters in the Bible. We're coming into Black History Month, and the question is that, you know, for me, we haven't, and this is a very broad way of speaking. There are ministers, there are great people in the kingdom who are teaching black history and black dignity in Christianity right to this very day. So please do not put up your hands and says you're wrong because my church does this, my church does that. I believe there are churches that are doing a great and fantastic job, but also I do believe that majority of churches are not touching this subject. Why I know that is because it does help to have a lifetime experience of over 40 odd years in the church and dedicate in the church all this time to have a conclusion like that, because sometimes it's best to have life studies and speaking to other people in the kingdom anyway still. But today I wanted to prompt us into some of the positive and maybe more controversial thing. The question is to the church, is the reason why we only teach about who invented transfusion being black, who stood up, you know, talk about our struggle in the last 200 years has been the get out clause for not teaching black dignity in Christianity for Black History Month. Bishop has also mentioned in his show that about, you know, why do we just have to wait till Black History Month to talk about black subjects? Because, you know, you can argue and say, why don't you just let Bishop talk in October, Roger, and then get somebody else to come in and talk about money and salvation and miracles, you know what I mean? And we got TBM for that, guys. You know what I mean?
We got TBM for all of that.
I'm saying you got channel for that stuff anyway. But the reality show is, guys, you know, that this is a 24/7 thing. So that's what I want to do. So what I want to do is just bring out some names around Bishop and see how he responds to a couple of these names that I got. Now I haven't torn into it yet. Still, we do look into certain books, and our Bishop's looking into a book that he just had it on the table. He's probably just put it aside anyway. Still, but there is an explosion of books that you know, not every book is a great book, but the reality show is for us to be able to read. And I must admit, books are getting better for me to read now because you can go on Amazon and then get the Audible book. The audio book is Audible is absolutely amazing. So
there's no excuse really.
No.
And I think that it's important that
sorry, Bishop, hit that. I want to make sure because I got this big massive deep voice. That's it.
Praise the Lord.
Man.
Okay, so what I was saying is it's important that we just use every method that we can find right now to discover things and to read widely and to read happily, read joyfully as well. You know, it's not a competition. Just read for your own exercise, you know, because I think the biggest thing in the past was that they would say that if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. I don't know what they said about the black woman, but definitely about the black man, they said if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And I think that one is that we should now begin to embrace scholarship, but also be part of scholarship as well. Tell your story.
Come on,
do you know what I mean? Because when you tell your story, then somebody else is going to be able to read it and be able to examine their own life as well. So that's going to be the exciting new move. That's why I'm saying Black History Month is not just about reflecting on historical characters. It's about present context and also this cultural development of contemporaneous to where we are now. What is our present story? You know what I mean? So that's a part of it as well that we're reflecting on there, and especially with the new scholars that are here now, they're saying, right, I'm going to write my story. I'm going to give my comments. On where we are now. And Black History Month is going to be a time where we say, okay, then we lift and celebrate, but prior to that, we generally educate. So this is about a lift and celebrate. So it's more energy. We can't budget this month every month because we'll run out of money. So what this does is lift and celebrate, but then every other moment is a standard educational teaching time. Okay, and that's what we've got to reflect on because we live this.
All right. No. 100%, definitely. On that, and one thing I must admit, looking into the toughness of really looking at blackness. Now we're gonna go into Africanism and blackness going into the Bible. So I'm scanning a book called The Whitewashing of Christianity, which is not the only book out there. There's plenty of books out there. So Bishop's got Manhood Restored by Eric Mason. I've got this book is by Jerome Gay Jr. And I think that there's a lot of, I'm not saying you have to buy this book, I'm saying there's a lot of stuff out there, so it's definitely cool. But what I think, not all the books, generally what I like about them, but do always default into making sure you realize that we're in the Bible. And I think in Black History Month we talk about the newest thing we get to the Bible is Cleopatra. We know that Cleopatra is meant to be black, even though I know that one because I've seen it on the walls at church, you know what I mean. And then we get told about Marcus Garvey, he was this, and we get to, which is great. Bishop's touched about Marcus. These are great people, Malcolm X, Martin Luther. We talk about the black man in the struggle. But let's go back before that, mate. we had a contribution to make, and looking at blackness into Christianity, it does cause you to think, oh my gosh, this is uncomfortable. So a couple of things, Bishop, I kind of bumped into this straight away. He looked at heroes. Okay. You often mention someone called Tertullian.
Tertullian,
Tertullian,
apostolic father,
father. I can't even say his name. Tertullian, Now I'm going. What's that got to? You know what I mean? What?
So Tertullian, and also you see Augustine.
Augustine.
All of those were called the apostolic fathers. They began to lead the church when all the apostles died.
Okay,
They led it from North Africa.
Wow.
Because Alexandria was the place of education.
Yes,
it
correct.
was also the place where the Bible was translated from Hebrew into Greek. So a lot of the names that you get now of the books of the Bible are from the translation of the 70. It's called the Septuagint. This was all done in North African by African scholars. North Africa by African scholars. The School of Alexandria.
Yeah, man.
So when you get to Tertullian, it's standard for them. It weren't nothing special. This is where education was. So this is why
it's like the Oxford, isn't it? It's like the Oxford of
so a lot of things that were learned in the Athenian structure of education, which is the Athens, were taken from Alexandria. So this is what we've got now here. So when we look at Tertullian is part of the next move of apostolic fathers who then begin to write, to begin to guide the church in doctrine and to be able to explain the character of Christ as well. So they were key to our understanding of scripture right now. And also Augustine with his City of God. So when you learn church history, they don't tell you that. You just hear the character. Nobody mentions to you that is an African man that they're talking about.
But you know what's scary?
And all the images in this country of Tertullian and Augustine the White.
The scary thing is, guys, this is my perception of Christianity, black Christianity in the Bible is and it sounds kind of really sad, is that the Ethiopian eunuch, and then a white guy tells him about Jesus. He goes hallelujah, and he goes down to Ethiopia, and then that's the last time we hear about Ethiopia for 1,900 years. That's the reality of my knowledge of black input in the Bible until I bumped into this curveball. I was reading the Bible, an old version of the Bible, and we say Simon of Cyrene. That's the politically correct version of the Bible, because I've seen the version of the Bible, Simon, then the Niger. I call it the Nigir. I call it the Rago way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, why is the King James version say this? But obviously they've evolved that version and call it Simon of Cyrene. But the key thing is, he was a black man. You know what I mean? Is it Simon or Simeon? Simon?
It's one of the apostles.
Apostles, yeah.
Simon the Niger, the nigger.
Yeah. So that was.
They don't want to say it now because it's not politically correct to say it, but that is exactly what it meant. Simon, who was from an African origin,
and that area. That the Niger area, we call it Niger for being politically correct. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's more deeper depths of Africa. You know, when you Kush was the immediate element of Ethiopia and whatever. But when you look at the Niger, you're talking about you going into Ghana and all them hardcore, you know what I mean, places. And there was trade, believe it or not. We're led to believe that there was no trade from West Africa into the Middle East. There was things going on, and people knew of the Ghanaian kingdoms that were functioning in them areas at the time. Anyway, so but that's something which, you know, black people know.
Because one of the key things is this. One is Doctor. When I reflected on a lecture, and he's done a great thesis. I hope he's going to do a book on it. On whiteness, conviviality, and agency. The Ethiopian Eunuch, and he did a lecture on it. Dulcie, please connect with Dulcie Dixon and the team at Queen's, especially the Black Theology Department. They're amazing. So this guy did a lecture. It's called Gifford Charles Alpheus Remy. Right? And in his lecture, he reminds us that the hardest struggle in the Bible is to find a white man by leprosy. It's the truth. The hardest struggle to find a European in the Bible is the last part of the Bible. Where Paul has a small reflection on Macedonia. And some of maybe the Italian Romans, if you want to call them white. Because a lot of the Roman conscripts were black. And they were African especially. So the hardest thing to find en masse is white people in the scripture. Because it's what they call a Afro-Asianic reflection of the world. Which means the land masses that you see all locked off now for some strange reason. Why a lot of people don't understand that Egypt is Africa, Ethiopia is Africa, Kush. They just said Kush because they didn't understand the rest.
The rest of the area,
But it was always this inclusion in the conversation.
It was,
Every time, look, when God blesses, he talks about, I'm going to bless Egypt. I'm going to bring Kush. There's no conversation about Macedonia. There's no conversation about England. There's no conversation about America. There's no conversation about France. Those places were irrelevant. Look what God was saying to him. And this is what I'm saying to everybody. If you examine it with proper eyes to examine even geography, the whole thing was happening in this Afro-Asianic ball. And
I'm cool.
So how we get now to have this whitewashed Christianity is because it could not be that this is a black story. This cannot be a black story. It's too redemptive. It's too important. So Rome took it on. And Europeanized it. And then they went through the age of reasoning. And
the Renaissance.
The Renaissance. So the Renaissance, and also part of that was also the Reformation. In the Reformation, this was the thing with Reformation. It was very anti-Semitical.
100%.
So the Jews of that time were dark. And they were African looking. Right? So what they had to do is make sure that Jesus did not look like a cursed Jew who killed Jesus. He's got to look like the righteous ones.
Righteous ones. Okay, cool. I feel
so righteousness is whiteness.
I feel it. I feel that.
So that's why Tertullian could not be spoken of as an African.
Okay.
And that's why you couldn't speak of Augustine, who was the key men as Africans. You had to just speak to them as Christian Fathers.
Yeah.
You follow
And
me?
and
So that's why you get some of them who are lost in the translation, because to them at that time it wasn't important for them to say I'm black.
okay.
It wasn't important because the whole world was black.
Yeah, I'm saying it was a black.
The whole world was black.
Yeah. There was it was more like, okay, that white dude over there. Yeah, what's he doing?
Yeah,
You know when you're in Lazar's and you go, oh, that white guy there. He's like, oh,
You're like,
what? Yeah.
I drove through there the other day and I was like, why is that white guy walking through Lazelle? I was like, there's something bad's going on.
You know.
No. I won't be like that.
It's obvious something's going on.
But the Bible is a story that is set in the ancient peoples of the earth. And when you talk about the ancient peoples of the earth, we're talking about the Apiru stroke Jews.
Yeah.
We're talking about the African people. We're talking about the Ethiopian people. We're talking about the Palestinian ball there that was always connected to African trade and African ethnicities as well. So you will always see intermarriage.
Yeah.
You will always see traveling as well. And it's not weird that Jesus would then be sent to Ethiopia.
Yeah,
to preserve his family.
But now this is
It's not weird.
You touch Jesus
Standard.
now, yeah. Now
Yeah.
this is a phrase. This is out the book. Why watching everything up and this and he goes. I stated earlier. So he's talked about earlier. And I remember when there was a discussion between my uncle John and my father-in-law. About Bible, and they went into like ham and I mean they go into them details, yeah.
Right,
So I thought, yeah, man, okay, cool. Now this is what the guy says. As stated earlier, 4 of 5 women mentioned in Matthew's account of the genealogy of Christ were of Hamitic descent. Tamar, Rahab, Bathsheba, Ruth. This was basically black people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Because it was a standard thing. It was nothing for them to marry an Ethiopian, an African, a Shulamite. It was nothing.
So how on earth now?
Yeah.
So we know if you got 4 out of 5 black women. Now I'm kind of brown skinned, as you can imagine, yeah. Not can you imagine, as you can see on YouTube now. But the joke is, my nan is of Portuguese descent, yeah. And it's funny because then I've got cousins who has my brother is the same complexion of Bishop, if not a darker than Bishop.
Proper black.
You know what I'm saying?
You got Portuguese mixed up. This Portuguese couldn't behave themselves, They love a black woman. That's why you're here.
You know what I'm saying? So they go to the West Indies and repopulate. But the thing is, it's like my brother's dark skinned, and now my brother's 2 generations down from a nan, yeah, and already she got someone dark skin. Now, if you put a black woman in the mix, you will almost reverberate around a brown skin. There's no way you're going to be. It takes 2-3. You know what I mean? To be. I don't want to use the word whitewashed. But if you're going to be, you can kind of blend in after 2-3 generations in terms of, even though you have odd throwbacks. But if you think about it, if to have 4 out of 5 women in the genealogy of Christ. He's more time going to be a different shade to me, and it won't be lighter. It will be more times darker. You know what I mean?
So yeah, they talk about the high Huskans. I think they're called the high Huskanas, which were ancient Philistines that were slightly lighter, and you get this kind of movement into Egypt that makes it slightly lighter. So when you look at Egyptians now, they're very light. But this is very modern.
Okay,
and that's because of migration.
Migration
down into Egypt. It's a very, very rich place.
Yeah.
So, but when you look at the ancient Egyptians, they were all very, very Cushite dark. Because there was not much migration.
Yeah.
But then what you still find is that the diversity of skin tone still meant that it was still all brown, black, black. There was no real Caucasianness.
No. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
That didn't involve itself there.
The
only way it could involve itself there is maybe from the Roman occupation. And they didn't send a huge amount of people because they weren't largely populated. They didn't send a huge amount of people to be able to change the culture of the places that they went. So when you look at it, then you reflect upon it and history past, and you reflect upon it and say to yourself, it didn't look in history past like it looks now. So when you get Saudi and all those places now that are very, very light, those were specifically made to look like that through depopulation of Africans, dark, and population of light-skinned people coming in from Europe.
From Europe,
So when you look at this genealogy construct here, it was not a huge thing to have African women and men involved in the genealogy. Because then you're going to look at Solomon, and Solomon's going to have to explain to us in a poetic way how black he is, how beautiful he is. You understand? And so you what we've not done is we've not asked the right questions. So this guy who wrote this thesis now, Gifford, he asked the right question.
Go on.
Where are the white people? Right? And so what he bases that on this is, it's all black. The hardest thing that we've got to now investigate is, where are the white people? Where is Europe? Where are the Caucasians in the story? There's hardly any. If you read it carefully, hardly any. So it comes in modern Christianity, and that's because this is the only thing that we have documented for us. It does not document the construct and the non-broken history of Ethiopian Christianity, of Ghanaian Christianity, of Nigerian Christianity. It doesn't write that for us because it wasn't relevant. Because we're in Europe. It's not relevant.
This is probably why, guys, to be honest, we don't even want to touch about the real blackness in the church, because you are destroying is the paradigm is the right word, or whatever I'm saying. Illusion, which we have unfortunately been drained. People rather says, you know what, I don't want to get a headache, so I tell you what, I'll just get to heaven as I am. I normally get to heaven, you know what I mean, as I am.
So we can sing Kumbaya, Malone.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't want to fall out with white people and go to hell.
This is absolutely, you know, and this problem is, I'm picking out some names, but you know, the problem is when you go into the Bible, then you start questioning, going, hold on a second, how many disciples were brown? I was brown and lighty skin. Most of them are probably more African dark skin. So you're going, hold on a second. You start to ask yourself two questions, like he says, how did the man breeze into Egypt? A European can't just breeze into Egypt at that time. And blend in them times.
I love that picture. You know that picture where it shows like there's a lot of black kids there, and then Jesus is in the middle having a difficult time. Jesus is having a difficult time.
This guy is from Bethlehem. Look, it's obvious. Wink, wink. You know what I mean? You know, like the guy from Sutton Coldfield being in Handsworth. Like, he's from Sutton. Oh yeah, of course. Yo, please, that guy from Sutton that went missing. He's here. You know what I mean? He's right here. But you couldn't do that in Egypt. That's the reality show. You couldn't hide in that area.
I think that one of the things is that we need to know this. Part and parcel of this life that Jesus led and his family led was that they could often travel to Africa because it was part and parcel of the whole landmass. The landmass was what divided like you see it now. The landmass was interconnected. You follow me? So therefore the cultures were engaging in each other.
Melting pot.
And there was this kind of religious reflection as well that the Jews had this ancient religion that came out of an African context, because their experience was coming out of Ethiopia. They understood what high gods meant, and then discovered how Yahweh is the imageless God, and is not Ra, is not any of the other gods that they have seen in Egypt, but he was there present with them. So for those people, then they also looked at the context of God being in Africa, because they would then think about this way of I think it's like what you call pantheism, where gods are in certain places. But they would look at this and say, well, we have been in Africa and God was with us through the desert. So now we're coming into this Palestinian context now. And God is with us. So then there's this omnipresent God who is then traversing cultures, but then impacting cultures and being a part of them. Because part and parcel of Egypt was not just everybody was cursed. Because if you look at the generations of the midwives, they were also blessed. The Egyptian midwives, those African women were blessed, and they had houses and they had lands and their populations were blessed. So
talking about
no,
that, you're talking about it, and the
Yeah.
image comes to me is
Yeah.
watching the Ten Commandments. Is it Ten Commandments?
Oh boy, the Ten Commandments can mess up your head, brethren.
And you had the two
Charlton Heston can mess up your head.
And you had the two black guys that were
The slaves.
Yeah.
The slaves. Standing behind the
Standing
behind the queen.
They didn't want to get hurt, you
Not
know.
even a line to say, yo, this is about us, you
Oh
know.
my goodness!
Yeah.
sake.
Yo, Charlton Heston, this is about us, you know.
We have been proper proper brainwashed. Oh, right, here's another name, and I know Bishop's gonna be going into these guys. I'm almost kind of hinting to him to make sure he does. And I'm gonna try and pronounce these names properly. It's called Athanasius.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh gosh, yeah. Athanasius.
Okay, is this one that's on your radar, bro?
Athanasius. Yeah.
Is this guy on your radar?
No.
Okay, cool.
No,
all right, then, still, guys.
Nothing about this guy. Because he's what? All right, he's in mid sort of 296 to 373.
You know what I'm saying?
So it'll be post.
Yeah, so he's the Bishop of Alexandria. You know the importance.
Okay, right. Yeah.
And basically, you know,
he'll be post Apostolic Fathers. Yeah,
and he was part of the Council of Nicaea. Now we always talk about Nicaea. Now I'm gonna leave Bishop to kind of break this down in one of his things, Bob. So really, because a lot of times, a lot of people leave the faith over this Nicaea thing,
creed.
And I think it's something that we need to break down, because a lot of black people my age are saying, yo, Nicaea never did this, Nicaea never did that. And I think we need to understand what's the colour of the people around the table at Nicaea. Yeah, let's be straight. So sit back down, because we discussed this before we before we brought the gospel to Northern Europeans, the Druids who were here in England, the Druids and the Gauls, you know what I mean, that were and the Gaelic tribes and all them guys. Yeah, while we were discussing the finer details of the faith. Yeah, in Nicaea,
it was very, very, very complex and structurized. These were the leaders of the church.
Yeah,
you know, and when you look at it, then from and this was directly from the apostles' leadership. So this is from the apostles now to the apostolic fathers to now these the Nicene Fathers that they're calling.
Yeah.
So you have books that were written on the Nicene Fathers.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be involved in that.
Yeah. And looking at the deity of Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah.
And,
so what they were looking at was in the Council of Nicaea was the divinity of Christ. Is Christ human, or is he flesh, or is he spirit? Is he flesh or is he spirit?
That's fundamental to what we believe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All these things we take for granted.
So these are the things that they discussed in their theological depositions. But they were always doing that. And then they would share what they had learned from the council with the wider church. And this was about the time where Rome was about to capture, unfortunately, the church. So you see this kind of age here?
Yeah.
This is when you're going to get this involvement of Rome.
And Augustine.
Then the poisoning of the doctrine.
That
starts to happen. They start to bringing
paganism into Christianity. You're saying
so they have to win them. So when they're winning them, they're trying to say, okay, then you can still have your
festival.
You can still have your festival, but we're gonna name it after this. And name it after that. Which all religious groups have additional festivals that they've created. You know, Muslims alike, whenever they went different places, then they created a different model of Islam. You follow me? So you can see that then this Christianity had to then absorb and develop people from their cultural base. And what it was trying to sort of accept their cultural base, but then develop them at the same time. Which is, in some cases, it's a mistake. In other cases, it's an interesting development. You know what I mean?
And he's finding, so that's somebody which I'm going to push onto Bishop, and I'm going to make sure I send a link to him. So he's going to look into this guy, because this guy was the Bishop of Alexandria. He can't be no muggins.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And being a bishop, and he was a black man, bishop of the Oxford of the time. You know what I'm saying? You know,
and this is the thing. What we fail to recognize is that this was standard practice. This wasn't something special. This wasn't an Obama moment. You know, what would have been really a diversion from those guys would to find a white guy and put him in there. That's when it would be different.
Yeah.
So what you look at there is then the Holy Roman Church realized that this is a very African agenda. And it was all in Rome.
Yeah.
So to now possess the hearts and the minds of men, the knowledge and the popery had to then take control of the theology. So that's when you get it now taken from Alexandria, moved to Constantinople, then moved over to Rome. Yeah. But the core scholarship is still there.
No, 100%.
Alexandria.
No. And I think, guys, we these are the discussion points that they're not nice, and maybe some guys, we need to do some training. Do give Dulcie Dixon a contact if bishops need to be upgraded. You know what I'm saying? She'll be happy to do that still. Yeah, but there's a lot of names in this book. Yeah, I don't know if Bishop, you heard it. This brother here bumped into this guy.
What's this one? Oh,
I'm not even going to say Pachomius, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's the great.
Pachomius the Great.
You know what I'm saying? So
he's in the same area. He's in the same era. So these were the senior bishops, the North African bishops again.
And so you're looking for this. This is pure blackness, bro. Yeah. And I have been taught that who introduced Christian. I was taught by a black Sunday school teacher. If it wasn't for slavery, we wouldn't had the gospel brought to us. We'll be stuck hungry in West Africa, starving, can't feed ourselves. And that's unfortunately not because the woman's a bad person, but the perspective of Christianity is that basically they saved us from our heathenistic selves. You know what I mean? They had no idea. We was just there jumping up and down with drums and saying bongo and don't know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Involved in demonic stuff.
Yeah, I think that is what they assumed, because one, they didn't understand the language of the Africans. One, they didn't understand the Africans came with Yahweh already. There was this image of ignorance for Africans, that when they played the drum, that when they danced, it wasn't the same as when they would play the violin and danced. So everything to do with Africans was ignorant, and it was heathenistic and pagan. And the word pagan is really a reflection on Europeanness, to be honest with you, because it really speaks about who they were in comparison to the religious people of African continent. Because the most religious, the religious people of the African continent all had a God reflection on them, whether it was a big God, small God, or a pantheistic God. They still had gods. Paganism talks about they have no God. They have no God. They have no reflection. They have no consistency in that worship. So for me now, it's now stepping beyond that and saying to ourselves, okay, then let's look at this in this way. And I think that paper written by Dr. Gifford just explains and allows us to understand. One, stop trying to find a black face, right? You don't need to find a black face in Christianity. It is an African story that has now been presented to Europe. Europe now has retold it in its whiteness, because all they could understand was whiteness. They could not comprehend blackness. What you need to do is understand that it is not a surprise to see black faces at the development of Christianity and the continual development of it.
No, 100%.
You follow me?
No,
because what whiteness will tell you is that it began in whiteness and it will end in whiteness.
No.
And you are just lucky to be an engrafted part. So you must be thankful for your engrafted part.
They're part of the redemption of the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So we are saving you.
Part of the Commonwealth was the board.
We are saving you. We are saving you.
Anyway, guys,
that is the challenge that we have to say, okay then, right. As we reflect together now, what do we need to speak to our children about? The embracing of just the development of Christianity in Africa. and speak that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
For instance, like this same book, you could take each one of those, copy it off and give it to the children and say, who is this?
Yeah.
Each Sunday you could do a children's message, because
Cool.
we're going to talk about how do we now develop this beyond this
Being
book
part
and this
of
paper,
yeah.
And how do we develop it in the
Into
lives of
curriculum.
our children?
Yeah, make it almost,
So
yeah.
again, Dr. Anthony Reddy, respect to Dr. Anthony Reddy, marvelous guy. He created a curriculum that helps us understand
Check this guy out,
liberation and
man.
black theology from a Sunday school perspective as well. And you yourself can, just as how we research everything else, we can research this for ourselves and make it a regular conversation, not just an October conversation. And I think that that's the important part that we need to do and play for our children, because this book now should be then part and parcel of us saying to ourselves, okay, children, okay, young people, okay, young white kids as well, young black kids, and whatever children that you have before you, young Asian children. Okay, let's have a look at what does it mean for Christianity to be more than just what you have seen on the small screen or on the big screen.
Big screen, bro. Big
On the big screen.
Big screen.
Like there was a big hullabaloo, but I just paid it no mind, but I still vexed. But I said, I'm not watching it. I paid no mind. Gods of Egypt.
Yeah, I remember
In this
that.
present context,
Yeah.
Gods of Egypt
Yeah.
was a disgrace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're looking at them now again. And you look at certain things because
and Noah, bro.
Yeah. And Noah, what a filthy, disgusting thing. Yeah. That's why my man career mash up. Yeah, because don't get involved in those things, brother. Don't get involved. Stick to Gladiator. Don't get involved in those things. Yeah. So that's why I was saying that those two, they're just disgraceful.
But okay, just if Bishop said about the Bible being spot the white, let me just go through some names. If I transform the color of Noah, Noah's sons, Ham, you know what I'm saying, into, and if you look into the movement of his sons and what areas, Canaanites, what comes to your mind? Yeah, man, the Palestinians out there now, and you think of that, and you go, hold on a second, that's how does that work? Because of Ham's is black, obviously, and he kind of pass. So you got them different things. If I said to you, we talk about Joseph's wife, we talk about Moses, the import of blackness in there.
Right, Moses' wife and his children.
Something threw me as well is it talked about Paul. I go, hold on a second. What evidence is Paul? Right, maybe Paul might not have been too big browner. How did he move in Egypt like he was normal? Another person who, I'm saying, who the person says, oh, you're Egyptian. No.
When he, to save his life, he went into Saudi to save his life because they're about to kill him. The Jews are about to kill him. So he had to run into Saudi. So as I keep saying to people, it is not like how you see it now. It is not like how you see it now.
Imagine the books, all the picture books. I used to love going through my grandma's. I got a Bible. I need to bring that Bible in. I got my grandma's Bible because when she died, that's the first thing I thieved the Bible. Yeah,
the Bible.
And then I thieved the Bible. I took possession of. Everyone's like, "Where's the Bible?" I've got it, lads. I've got it there still because I was the first grandchild to get baptized. So I have. One. You know what I'm saying? So sort that out. Yeah. So I used to love looking at the different imagery of biblical soldiers. Yeah. The Roman soldier, what they look like, a white guy in his Roman uniform, the Hittites with this look, how they said everybody was white. And I'm looking at, if I change the color of all these, how would I feel? How would it be, whatever? But Bishop, you raised a valid point now. This is the challenging time, and I know I'm going to hit some of these names off the Bishop to go away to look into this.
You are exactly right, because one thing is clear, is that even when you look at the idea of the curse of Ham and you reflect on, so Noah goes and has one black youth and two white ones to the same woman. Yeah? One black youth and two white ones. How that work? How does that work? Scientifically, it could not be the basis. So what it is that 3 children of the same ethnicity, because it was one mother, one father. He never bring 10 wives. He never bring 3 wives. He had one wife. And he was blessed and his children were blessed. So I keep saying to people, how do you then become cursed when you are blessed? Does he have a right to reverse the curse of God in his family? To the blessing of God in his family? He doesn't have a right to do that. Especially if the Bible reminds you that he was a drunken man. Yes, the effect can be that the man can malice his children and make them more poor than the other children. He can set them differently. He can say, look, it's my first son. I'm giving him 2/3. The other two are going to live off that. And he could even say, I'm giving the one that vexed me most, giving him the least. So there's an internal dynamic to this story. However, the danger of this story is that rabbinic racist scholars said that, careful with this one, rabbinic racist scholars said that when Noah cursed Ham's son, Canaan, he then turned black and his hair changed texture because he was cursed. And this is where the African curse comes from.
And you know what? Black people believe it, you know.
Oh yeah, they believe it long time. They still believe it now. So this is the challenge that we have. This is the challenge that we have.
This is
So then, if you believe that you are cursed, then you believe that is where I am. I'm subservient to everything. But there is no biblical reflection on that. It doesn't continue. You know, like there was a continued judgment. Like God says, Assyria, because you did this to...
How did they not...
Yeah, because you did this. Look at how God's saying...
I'm thinking of people who put back that, you know what I mean? Because they read the Bible, they know
then
they
there
can
would
quote
be
the
a
Bible.
repetition.
They're quoting the Bible. These bishops and stuff that believe this. I'm talking about the generation that I looked up to. As,
would
you know,
be a repetition.
Listen, they're reading the Bible. They can quote the Bible. They can even say, right, Genesis, and they go through the whole scripture. They note at the back of the hand, how on earth didn't go say, oh, hold on a second.
And look at this.
What lens would...
Why didn't Jesus repeat the curse? Jesus loves to share Old Testament reflection of curses. And so when you look at some of the curses that happened, even now when you look at them now, it's because they had no behavior when the Jews were a mass and they were going through troubled times. God says, I told you to judge them, but you went too far. That's why I'm going to batter you. I'm going to batter you. So some of the things that happened in Iraq, Iran, and all of those places is because of Babylon. It's because of all the bad behavior. So the curse continues itself. Why isn't it repeated in text? Why no prophet picks it up? No prophet picks up this curse. No prophet. This is a major curse, you know. No prophet picks up this curse.
Because they would refer to the Cushites as the cursed ones.
Right.
If they refer, the cursed ones. The cursed ones. And
the
never,
people from Sodom were the cursed ones.
The
Moabites were the cursed ones. The Edomites were the cursed ones. Cushites were not.
And they will look at it like that, people.
You understand? So when you look at it and you examine it, you have to look from the reflection of this to say, God's biological development, you know, doesn't have no deviation. It's only when you mess around with it yourself, right? So if one man has 3 children to one woman, they're all the same ethnicity. What was the difference? They moved to certain different parts on the earth. That was the only difference. You see what I mean?
Lack of
and what happens in this is what it was convenient to develop this curse into whiteness. And the biggest thing about whiteness is this is the biggest thing about the whiteness curse, is that it says blackness is a curse and whiteness is a blessing. That's the biggest thing about whiteness. And that's what we have to bring under judgment.
That's some tough talk, you know.
Yeah. We have to bring it under judgment.
Guys, this is tough talk because
we have to bring it under judgment.
You know what?
Because that's the big thing.
Yeah, this you know why, guys, it hurts my heart because I know man left Christ. Because we didn't talk like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Man left the church. Genuine good people. You know what I'm not saying the perfect. I'm just saying good people left the church.
Right.
Because we didn't deep dive this stuff. Right. And I'm not saying we can. How can we redemptively, as a collective, as black Christians, how do we reconcile with, let's be real, the Rastas, the Hebrewites, the ones that we've almost said, leaving them black socialist people, them, you know, we've we've villainized, and if anyone says that we haven't villainized Rastas, we have, because
we vilified them. We vilified
absolutely
them hard.
murdered them. Growing up as a child, the work-class black people were the Rastas. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's
so
the perception of
the worst thing is when you're sleeping, your mother wake you up. If you ever locks up in there, I kill you.
Listen, no, but the thing is, it wasn't only Christians, it was non-Christians. My uncle has got longest dreads to his legs there, right down to his legs. He never started going just till that dead. You know what I mean? Because his dad did not want him to have dreads. He told him to cut them off. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want him to have dreads, and he was a drunkard. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So for me, going, hold on a second. There's a concept.
It was this. They were the cursed people of the Caribbean. Once you become a Rasta in the Caribbean, you are the oppressed group. You know what I mean? And I think that one of the key things that we need to understand what the blessing of Rasta is one, music, two, language and culture. They had the language and culture of Africa. They embraced Africa when we did not want to embrace it. We were trying to embrace that we are from European extract, that we've got Indian blood in us, that we've got Chinese blood in us. The Rasta invented the way of speaking in the Caribbean that is black and powerful, black and proud and knowledgeable. You know, they took what Marcus Garvey said. They took looking at Ethiopia. They look at Haile Selassie and they looked at the construct of Ethiopia and said, I know where we come from. This is where we come from. We're not just plucked out of the sea, then became slaves. We came from somewhere. So that is why you always have to respect Rasta, because Rasta did it in poetry and they did it in song. They were the first ones to do it in poetry and song so that we could hear. You understand?
Wow.
And so that's why they need to be given respectful place.
Yeah.
And so even when I do like stuff now, and I do it with drummers, Rasta, poetry and so on, that's my favorite thing on the earth. It is. A lot of people say, why? I say, because I owe a lot to consciousness. Rasta, reggae music taught me consciousness of blackness. I didn't learn that in church. I learned certain things, but consciousness and radicalness, nah man, that was Rasta and that was reggae. And so everything comes into the bowl of us. This blackness, this black experience. Do you know what I mean? So this black experience is Hebrew Israelitism. This is like they're trying to find their place and say, hey, we are part of the root. That's what they're challenging us. They say we're part of the root. So we have to understand that even when we're talking about this here now, when we're talking about black Christianity, they're really trying to point out to us that we are not distant from the root of how this begins. Do you know what I mean? Because when you look at it, even when the Hebrews, to call themselves Hebrews, they were a Pyru before, they were a family. When they came out of Egypt, it says a multitude. It does not give you a sort of one ethnicity. They were a multitude. And that means that it was mixed. It was a mixed group. So it has Egyptian inheritance in it. It has a lot of African Kushite mixture in it. It has Hebrew, a Pyru mixture in it. Do you know what I mean? That's why all of a sudden you'll see a Jewish guy stood there and his hair is kinkier than yours. And you're like, where did that come from?
This is what I'm saying.
And he tell you, and then you realize that what's happened with the Jews as well. They've been Europeanized.
Bro, do you see? It's like looking at Italian football team. You see that in the Italian team, and you see that hair that's kind of like, body up, you know.
You're laughing. You look at
how did that happen? You know, from the mother side, man.
And I say, I love black families, and I love the development of black families. But I say to you, only humans can procreate with humans. It's not an offense to God for humans to procreate with humans.
Come on.
What is offensive is to you to put a curse over one group against another.
Man.
So if you're a mixed family, you got white people in there, black people in there.
Man.
You're not mixed race. As I always say, I'm going to bring this book for you, what this Baptist wrote about race is a prejudice construct to divide people. It does not exist. in the understanding of the science of God. Science of God is this: I made one group of people called the human race.
Yeah, man.
There is no other race of people. There is a different group called animal, right? But only human beings can procreate with human beings.
Yeah.
One race.
Yeah, man.
Human race.
Remember that abomination of a program back in the day when they tried to say that this man was from a gorilla? And his mom was a gorilla. Dude, I can't remember what it was called.
What was that film?
Was
it Tarzan?
It was like the guy was his mom was a ape.
Oh my
do you remember that one?
No, I didn't watch that.
Okay, cool. So Bishop, Mister, I watched out for what the heck? You know what I mean? There was a time, I don't know, in the late 90s, they was trying to justify saying that we could mix with
I tell you what, this is the weird thing. I'm gonna give you this weird thing.
Okay, cool.
I was like, this is so weird. In like when they were trying to free the slaves, and it was called the abolitionist movement. The biggest supporters of the abolition movement were scientists, not religious. Religious came in afterwards.
Okay.
Darwin was a major supporter of the abolitionist movement. Darwin, because from Darwin's concept, everybody's from an ape. Therefore, the Africans are the development of humanity, just like the white ones are. They're all from apes.
Yeah. So he's like this.
So how can one person who's an African be treated worse than one other person who is white?
Yeah. Get it.
What Darwin was saying is, we all come from the monkey anyway.
Yeah.
So therefore, these people are equal with you because they are now the humandos. They're humans, but we all have an origination in the monkey. So Darwin believed that all people were equal. But he said that they were, but then this is the other thing that, he did that, but then the other thing that they invented from that is that the most developed group of Homo sapiens were white people. The Africans are still further down the food chain.
And they showed the monkey, then they showed the black person, then they showed the white person. As
so
a fully
they used that against them. But
he
did still support the abolitionist movement. And that's what I found fascinating. I was like, Lord God, the scientists joined the show before the church.
Well, this is
this is the challenge.
It is a challenge and it's a tough conversation. But guys, I'm gonna give Bishop some of the list of these dudes that I'm gonna send Bishop away to look into. Obviously, Augustine.
What we will do, I will purchase the book. Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. Yes.
Awesome. How much does it cost?
I'm saying it cost it's only about 12-13 quid.
£12. You couldn't even get a meal for that anywhere.
True.
See, it is a main meal at TGI Fridays, not even a decent restaurant. TGI Fridays, cheap meal that is. Buy the help our scholars grow, develop, and become the men who speak.
Speak.
And
publishing is amazing now, where we can almost self-publish now. Which is an amazing tool for us to actually bypass the system. And there's no point moaning about other groups doing it. We need to do it ourselves. And this is where we can be coming back in and supporting these guys to write more books and opening up these things, because there's some amazing things in here anyway still, guys. But listen, again, this is just here. This show was just about prompting you to think, again, how do I kind of teach now? Okay, I need to go a bit further back than who invented the helicopter, and go, and start looking back into the whole Christianity itself, and looking at the fundamentals of Christianity and seeing where we have played a part. And if we imagine how things would have been different if we had this knowledge before. So guys, I encourage you to teach. If you're not comfortable with it, do hit us in. There are sources and information that we can direct you to. Do comment if you totally disagree with what we're saying here, and we say we should move on and focus on the cross. It's just about preaching the blood. I've heard this before, just last year on many Zoom conversations. Focus on the blood, just pour the blood on everything, and everything could be better. Great. We'll conversate about that. That's great.
That's fine.
You know what I'm saying? But the reality show is that we want to be educated and knowledgeable of other things, to know when we're dealing with our people. We can talk from an informed position of strength, because there's nothing to hide. Just everything to be proud of.
I think it's important that we as they understand that our mission is to represent ourselves in the right light as far as we understand, because there is nothing in biblical text and in spiritual text and in prophetic text that tells us we should be sitting at the back, that we should be ashamed of who we are. And so we're readdressing that. You know, if whiteness can readdress itself, then we can readdress ourselves as well. And if you want to speak about the redemptive aspect of it, then we've got to redeem what was wrong. And if it's wrong and it's destroyed people's health and their mental health, then we need to address it to bring healing. Jesus always dealt with the thing that was wrong before he brought the healing. And that's how the blood of Jesus works. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, man.
But I'm a preacher, so I'll preach that. I'll preach that all the way home.
Yeah, man. Most definitely. So, guys.
So, yeah, man, it's been wonderful. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, guys.
Amen.
Just do follow Bishop's videos. He's got loads of videos on Affinity Xtra. And we're here to spread the word. And do like and subscribe and do all them stuff on YouTube if you're listening into YouTube. And if you're listening into the station itself, keep on listening in. Download the app and do to go to www.affinityextra.com and do all Infinity Xtra on all the different platforms out there. Listen, God bless you all. Thanks again, Bishop, for your time.
Yeah, man.
This is how we do it, man. Blessings.
Take care.
Visit us for updates and shows at affinityextra.co.uk.